Hello everyone, welcome to the Let's Talk About podcast and a very impromptu episode we have for you today. I'm having some housework done on the house, so the missus and the baby are staying down at mum's, so I thought, you know what, let's knock a podcast out. So today I've been looking at Skinwalker Ranch versus Stardust Ranch. Now, a lot of people have probably heard of Skinwalker Ranch because it's got its own TV show. I think there's 6 series in there. Not many people know about Stardust Ranch. Now, Ghost Adventures have been here, and I didn't realise that until I was doing the research today that they'd been there. Obviously, I'd seen the episode, but it was a long time ago. It's season 12. I think it's season 12, episode 2. I think it is, if I remember right. Let me just have a look. I've got it down in my notes here somewhere. Where is it? It's down here. Ghost Adventures season 12, episode 12. So yeah, that's when they do that. And obviously Skinwalker Ranch, everyone knows about Skinwalker Ranch. You type in Skinwalker Ranch on Spotify or on YouTube, it's just loads and loads and loads of people. Loads of people have been there doing investigations and stuff. So Jack Osbourne, some of the sources I got today, Jack Osbourne did his Night of Terror with his 2 mates, Jason Mewes and Jamie Kennedy. They did a Skinwalker Ranch episode where it was after UFOs, but it ended up being about Skinwalker Ranch. The Bro Oil podcast have done an episode on it, and Whatcast have also done Skinwalker Ranch. It's very, very big. It's very, very popular. But I thought today what we'll do is we can do a Skinwalker Ranch versus Stardust Ranch and find out who is the most paranormal, who is the one that's got the most shit going on. Because in this podcast, that's what we deal with. We deal with shit going down. That's what it is. So let's get into it, shall we? Of course, the usual, if you want to get in touch with me, get in touch with me. Let's talk about pods@gmail.com or follow me on Instagram at let's_talkaboutpods. You want to comment on me? Leave a comment on the bottom of this video. Let me know who you think's the daddy, Stardust Ranch or Skinwalker Ranch. Who do you think's the scariest? Who's got the most paranormal shit going on? Let me know. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like I said, today for my sources today for Skinwalker Ranch, I watched a few YouTube videos. There was a lot on there. I did try and get some photos from Skinwalker Ranch, but the problem is I don't know which ones are real and I don't know which ones are AI, because when you click on Skinwalker Ranch photos or paranormal evidence, none of that shit's real. Them photos are not real, so I couldn't take really any photos of Skinwalker Ranch, but I've got a few photos for, I think I've got about 5 photos for the Stardust Ranch episode. So I'm going to break them down. So I'm going to do a little bit about Skinwalker Ranch, then I'm going to do a little bit about Stardust Ranch, and then we're going to have a face-off, like a top trumps kind of thing. Not Donald Trump, top trumps, and we'll go from there. So when people think about paranormal hotspots in North America, their minds usually jump to an haunted house or an abandoned asylum. But in the annals of high-strung anomaly research, nothing quite strikes terror like a paranormal ranch. A piece of land where whatever is on the other side doesn't just bump in the night, it stakes a claim on the territory. Today we're putting 2 of the most heavily documented, violent, active and absolute batshit bonkers ranches on earth head to head. WWE versus WCW styling. In one corner we have Skinwalker Ranch, a 512-acre slice of Utah desert drenched in centuries of native law, government black budget defence studies, military grade surveillance and high-tech scientific anomaly tracking. On the other side we have Stardust Ranch. So I do this like Bruce Buffer. On the one corner we have Skinwalker Ranch, 512-acre slice of Utah desert drenched in centuries of native law. On the other side we have the Stardust Ranch, a quiet horse rescue in Rainbow Valley, Arizona that turned into a literal physical war zone, featuring home invasions, abduction attempts, and a rancher defending his family against extraterrestrial invaders with a fucking samurai sword. I'll get into that later. So let's get into this, shall we? We'll start off with Skinwalker Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch is based in the Unitah Basin of northeastern Utah. 512 acres of scrub brush, cottonwood trees and towering sandstone mesas, whatever the fuck they're on. I think it's them big massive rocks, because if I remember the programme, there's loads of stuff with these big massive, like, God, giant boulders, so I think that must be what they're on. To understand Skinwalker Ranch, you have to go back before the white settlers stepped foot in Utah. Local lore traces the basin's dark aura back to conflicts between the Ute tribe and the Navajo. According to tribal legends, a curse was placed upon the land, giving birth to the Ye Naldushi, or the Skinwalker, a malevolent witch or shapeshifter capable of taking the form of wolves, coyotes, or predatory birds. For generations, the Ute people strictly avoided the property, viewing it as the cursed ground where dangerous entities walked over paths. One of the most, Skinwalker Ranch, it's a strange place. If you've ever seen the documentaries and the thing about this, it's just literally, it's like they have in America. They have like these big massive deserts. Then you have like a big house, just like as if it's been picked up with a crane and just dumped there. And that's what this is. It's surrounded by mountains. There's a bit of forest in there. This is where all the stuff comes from, because this is a hotspot for everything. You have cryptids, you have Bigfoot, you have aliens, you have ghosts, you have doggers. No, you don't get. No, there's no dogging. You have, if you name it, it's there. The only thing that I at Skinwalker Ranch is mermaids and the Loch Ness Monster. That's because there's no water. I'm assuming if there was water there, it probably would be, because everything fucking else is. So, what do people think Skinwalker Ranch is? One of the most widely held paranormal claims is that the ranch sits on top of an interdimensional tear or a portal connecting our universe to the parallel dimensions or alternate realms. Believers and researchers point to recurring observations of orange sky portals, high energy electromagnetic anomalies such as persistent 1.6 gigahertz of signal spikes. Don't know what that means, I ain't got a clue. I think that might be something to do with Skinwalker Ranch TV show. And physical entities appearing to step out of visible apertures in mid-air or pass straight through solid sandstone mesa rock walls. For many UFO enthusiasts and researchers, Skinwalker Ranch is viewed as a high-density corridor for the base of extraterrestrial activity. Witnesses, ranged from local residents to former military personnel, have reported glowing orbs, silent metallic craft, giant triangular UAPs, because that's what you got to call them these days. You can't call them UFOs. You got to call them UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is exactly the same as a fucking UFO. So why change it? If they broke, don't fix it. And unexplainable aerial manoeuvres, coupled with decades of surgically precise cattle mutilations where carcasses were drained of blood. Believers argue that the ranch is an active testing area or visitation site for non-human intelligences. Deeply rooted in regional history, the ranch is claimed to be an epicentre of ancient indigenous curses. According to local law, the land became cursed during historical conflicts between the Navajo and Ute tribes. It is said that the vengeful shamans unleashed the Skinwalker, as I've mentioned this before. It can change into coyotes and predators. I've already mentioned that. I don't know where that's in there twice. To conspiracy theorists and defence observers, Skinwalker Ranch is claimed to be a clandestine laboratory for military experimentation, advanced bioweapons testing, or reverse engineered technology. So if people don't understand what reverse engineered technology is, basically what they do is they've found a spaceship. So what they're going to do now is, Bob Lazar was very well known for doing this in Area 52 or Area 50. He was 51. He was the one next door, but I can't remember if it was one up or one down. But reverse engineering is like, right, you've got the spaceship, right, find out how that spaceship works. So now, instead of building it, you're going to deconstruct it. So you're going to take it apart one by one and then rebuild it again. So you kind of reverse building it, and hence the word reverse engineering it. When billionaire Robert Bigelow bought the ranch in 1996, he established the National Institute for Discovery Science, the NIDS. Later, the Pentagon funded the Advanced Aerospace Weapon System Applications Program, the AAWSAP. Fuck, they're like an acronym, though, these Americans. Fuck, you know. Everything over in America is an acronym. I'm surprised America ain't an acronym for something else. Jesus. Though the Defence Intelligence Agency, here's another one, DIA. Fuck me, so you got the NIDS, the AAWSAP, the DIA. How about the FCUKU? Fucking hell. The Defence Intelligence Agency to study the ranch. Skeptics and theorists alike suggest that some reported phenomena such as radiation burns, vertigo and radio frequency interference could stem from secret directed energy weapons testing, holographic projection experiments or psychological warfare trials. Rather than attributing the activity to just one cause, researchers like Jacques Vallée and Colm Kelleher described the ranch as a hotspot of high strangeness, a place where multiple unexplained phenomena overlap. Beyond UFOs, visitors claim the ranch harbours cryptids such as a massive bulletproof wolf and shadowy humanoids. I'll get into them later on. Poltergeist activity inside homes, disappearing heavy machinery, and unexplainable physical illness, radiation exposure upon visitors. From a mainstream scientific and sceptical perspective, Skinwalker Ranch is claimed to be an exaggerated media phenomenon, a tourist TV brand, or a case of collective confirmation bias. Confirmation bias! Skeptics point out that despite decades of monitoring by the NIDS, government-funded programs and TV camera crews such as the History Channel's The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, no undeniable physical evidence, clear high-resolution entity footage, or peer-reviewed biological samples have ever been produced for the public. I thought about that because I used to watch the first season of the Skinwalker Ranch and nothing happened. I think they got a couple of hits on like the Geiger counter or the Geiger counter, the Geiger counter I think it's called. He wore a spike. It was just a couple of like beep 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 beep. That's all it was. Nothing major. And I never watched it again after that because I thought it's fucking pointless, it's boring. It was all good. It was on about this well. I remember the bit where they found a well or something. Yeah, there was something about that. I don't know. I stopped watching. The Myers family, who owned and lived on the ranch for 60 years prior to selling it to the Sherman family in 1994, publicly state that they never experienced anything unusual on the land. Skeptics argue that much of the lore was embellished or created during the mid-1990s and subsequently commercialised. A lot of this sort of stuff happens when the X-Files came out. Interesting. So let's have a look at the lineage of the ownership of Skinwalker Ranch, shall we? So pre-1934, native lands transitioned into rural cattle plots under early families like the Benton, Macmillan, Locke and Honor Ora Bryant. So you've got families like the Benton, the Macmillan, Locke and Honor Ora Bryant. Strange last name, ain't that one? 1934 to 1994, the Myers era. Kenneth and Edith Myers lived on the property for 6 decades. They lived extremely quiet. Kenneth reportedly warned neighbours never to dig in the soil and keep ferocious guard dogs. While they rarely spoke publicly, strange lights and unexplained loss of livestock were quietly endured for 60 years. So maybe something did happen. But then again, if you talk about loss of livestock, and you've got woods and you've got rocks and that, you have got mountain lions, you have got snakes, you have got, like, I'm sure they've got big massive lizards over there as well, like Nile, like not monitors, like monitor lizards, not Komodo dragons, but like big fuck off monitor lizards and stuff. So, you know, I'm sure you've probably, you know, there may even be some other stuff in there, but if you've got that sort of thing, maybe like you might have wild dogs, or maybe coyotes even. So if you have got like livestock missing, don't necessarily mean it's being abducted and cut open and anal probed. So, not sure about that one. 1994 to 1996, the Sherman era. Cattle rancher Terry Sherman and his wife Gwen brought the property to raise elite red Angus cattle. Their dream turned into a living nightmare within weeks. Well, they were only there for 2 years. 1996 to 2016, the Bigelow era. Terrified by escalating physical and psychic attacks, the Shermans sold the ranch for $200,000 to billionaire aerospace mogul Robert Bigelow. Bigelow funded NIDS, the National Institute for Discovery Science, converting the ranch into a fortified black budget laboratory lined with security checkpoints, night vision cameras and ex-military guards. 2016 to the present, the Fugel era. Real estate tycoon Brandon Fugel purchased the ranch via adamantium real estate. Adamantium? That's what Wolverine's got on his body. That metal, is that adamantium? Or is that adamantium? Adamantium, I've heard of that. It's either what's on Wolverine's bones, or it's what Captain America's shield's made from. I'm sure it's the Wolverine. I'm sure it is. So, the intensity of activity at Skinwalker Ranch ranges from poltergeist manifestations to biological warfare like radiation injuries. The most famous cryptid encounter, here we go, occurred in 1994 on the very day Terry and Gwen Sherman moved onto the property. So this is the day they moved in. Shit goes down. A massive wolf-like canine, described as 3 times larger than the average timber wolf with unnatural pale blue eyes, walked casually up to the family's corral. Initially docile, the creature suddenly grabbed a live calf by the snout through the wooden fence post. Terry Sherman grabbed a .357 Magnum revolver and shot the beast at point-blank range. The bullet had no effect. He then retrieved a high-powered .30 to .006 hunting rifle and shot the wolf twice more, bang bang, blowing actual chunks of hide and flesh off the creature. The wolf casually released the calf, looked at Terry without showing pain or bleeding, and trotted off into a nearby creek bed. Terry tracked its paw prints in the mud. After a short distance, the massive tracks abruptly ceased in the middle of open ground, as if they'd simply vanished into thin air. That's scary. You imagine coming face to face with that. Shoot it! Looks at it and goes, what the fuck's that, mate? Is that the best you got? So then he goes and gets a big gun and goes, that's not a gun. This is a fucking gun. Bang, bang, bang. And you go, boom, boom, boom. He goes, oh, fuck, Ian, have you care why I bothered? And just trots off. And then you follow him and he disappeared. That's scary. That's on your first day you've moved in as well. The tree-lurking gargoyle, aka the eye-shining humanoid. During Nid's research era under Robert Bigelow, a team of former military scientists and law enforcement officers were monitoring the ridge at night. Using high-powered night vision scopes, a researcher observed a massive muscular humanoid perched roughly 20 feet up in a tree. The entity was described as having piercing yellow reptilian eyes. When the team fired a large caliber rifle at the figure, it emitted a heavy thud as it hit the ground. When they rushed over with flashlights, there was no body, but they found giant, deep, 3-toe claw prints pressed into the dirt beneath the tree. It's a bit dodgy, ain't it? It's a bit, that's a bit scary. Numerous observers, including current security personnel, have reported spotting bizarre canine cryptids with long, sloped hindquarters, coarse yellowish fur, and unnatural movement patterns. That's people turn around and say that's skinwalkers. Because when they said that before about the unnatural movement patterns and like they look like a wolf, but there's something different. There's something makes it look different. And that's where they turn around and say what the fuck's that? It's a bastard fly. Fuck off. Yeah. Gotcha, bastard. So yeah, that could be a skinwalker. That could, because that's what they turn around and say. In recent years, researchers are claiming scat, aka shit, and organic remains near the creek beds found canine tissue. DNA testing revealed anomalous results showing traces of Greenland wolf DNA alongside unidentified canine genetic material, fueling theories of relict populations or genetic anomalies roaming the basin. Observers on the property, from Terry Sherman to Nid's guard and the modern team under the real estate owner Brandon Fugel, frequently describe seeing pitch black silhouette figures standing on top of the mesa. That's them big giant rocks must be. These figures often exceed 7 feet in height, lack visible faces or clothing, move with terrifying swiftness, and vanish when spotlights or infrared beams are aimed directly at them. Physical violence, dog vaporizations, and the radiation injuries now. So let's get into this. One evening during the Sherman era, 3 crackling, glowing blue orbs of light were seen floating low around the house. Terry Sherman released his 3 fiercest cattle dogs to chase the lights. The dogs pursued the blue orbs into a thicket of Russian olive trees. Moments later, the Shermans heard agonising shrieks of terror and pain from the owners, followed by complete silence. Expecting to find injured dogs, Terry went into the brush the next morning. Instead, he discovered 3 perfect circular patches of scorched, blackened earth. Resting in the centre of each circle was a small, oily black liquefied residue. That was all that remained of the dogs. So basically, they fucking liquefied the dogs, wherever it was. So, wow. Have we even got technology that can do that? Multiple individuals stepping foot on the ranch have suffered sudden, localised radiation burns, extreme nausea and severe vertigo without a clear thermal source. During modern scientific investigations, aerospace engineer Dr. Travis Taylor and security chief Bryant Dragon Arnold, what a name, Bryant, not really, but really that's like a posh version of Brian. Bryant Dragon is your middle name. You know, his dad must have liked Bruce Lee. experienced sudden severe medical emergencies while near specific structures, such as the Homestead 2 and the Mesa. Dr. Taylor suffered extreme unexplained radiation exposure that led to immediate soft tissue damage, inner ear disruption and severe sickness requiring medical intervention. Gwen Sherman routinely walked into her kitchen to find freshly locked cabinets, wide open, or groceries that she had just unpacked neatly repacked into boxes. Heavy farm equipment was constantly tampered with. In one famous instance, Terry left a massive 70-pound snow chain on a tractor. Within minutes, the chain was inexplicably lifted and wrapped with surgical tightness round a high tree branch 20 foot in the air, a feat requiring immense structural lifting power. So basically, he's trying to say, like, 70 pounds, that's about what? It's about 40 kilo, 35, 40 kilo. That's a heavy weight. That's a lot of weight, that is. And if someone's lifted that 20 foot in the air and wrapped it around a tree, definitely a human wouldn't be able to do that. No chance. That's like machinery or something that would have to do that. The alien encounters, the portals and the sky anomalies. Let's get into this now, shall we? Both NIDS researchers and current investigators have captured visual evidence of glowing orange apertures opening in the sky above the Mesa at night. These apertures look like ripping or tears in the night sky. Through night vision optics, NIDS scientists documented observing a dark, humanoid figure physically crawling out of an orange circle of light, hovering above the ground, stepping into the ranch and walking away into the darkness before the gateway shrank and disappeared. So let me just get a quick drink. Sorry about that. It's fucking hot in here, man. It's really hot. I need to get a fan or something now. Anyway, so they're looking up in the sky and they can see literally like a rip in the sky and then something crawling out of it, stepping onto the ranch and then crawling back. Wow. Witnesses describe looking through the night sky portal and seeing what appear to be clear daylight blue skies on the other side. That'd be weird if you look through like an hole in the sky and then you see like a different sky on the other side through the sky. Very weird. The Shermans and subsequent researchers have documented silent, metallic, saucer-shaped craft, large triangular craft with pulsing lights and high-speed glowing metallic spheres traversing the canyon. Multiple team members have filmed and visually tracked high-speed UAPs flying directly towards the sandstone face of the Mesa, only to pass straight through the solid rock face as if the mountain was a holographic illusion or a physical door. Here we are. The 1.6 gigahertz signal anomalies. So I knew there'd be something to do with this. Under Brandon Fugel's ownership, the scientific team introduced radio frequency, the spectrum analyzers across the property. Whenever UAP sightings, cattle distress or physical anomalies occur, the team constantly detects an intense localized 1.6 gigahertz radio frequency signal. This specific frequency sits with a band heavily reserved for space-to-earth satellite communications and military technology, leading researchers to hypothesize that the phenomena are driven by high-energy electromagnetic transmissions or non-human intelligence manipulating local space-time. I haven't got a fucking clue what any of that sort's about. When you're talking to that sort of stuff, that's well over my head, that is. Cattle mutilations and livestock horrors. Dozens of elite cattle have been slaughtered at Skinwalker Ranch under impossible conditions. Sexual organs, teats, ears, eyes and tongues are excised with micro laser precision, removing tissue down to bone without jagged tears. Carcasses containing hundreds of pounds of blood are found completely drained, yet there's no blood splatter on the ground, on the cow's hide, or on surrounding snow/dirt. Now, a lot of people tell me that that's alien stuff, that is. That's very, very common with alien sort of phenomena. Whether it is or not, I'm not sure, but sometimes when you see this sort of stuff, they say like the aliens have got the technology that can do that sort of stuff, where if we had to do that, we would have to do that like literally on a surgical table with like state-of-the-art equipment. Some people say it's just nature. Some people say I'm sure I've seen the one program, was it Expedition X? They looked into cattle mutilations and or was it Paranormal Declassified? It was one of them sort of programs anyway. And they said basically it was gas, and when the body died, it built up a load of gas, and basically it just got that big, it just ripped the skin. But I'm not sure. Oh yeah, Doctor, are you going to put more pennies worth on any of that? Because I haven't got a fucking clue. I haven't got a clue. I know it's very weird, very odd, but I don't know. Native scavengers, including coyotes, magpies and buzzards, will refuse to go near a mutilated carcass on Skinwalker Ranch, often steering clear by dozens of yards. That's very strange. Very strange, especially for coyotes and especially for magpies and buzzards, because they scavenger animals. Especially buzzards. I mean, buzzards, I mean, they do kill animals, but if they can scavenge instead of killing, they'll scavenge every single time. So that is a strange one. In one famous event, Terry Sherman left 4 massive 2,000-pound breeding bulls inside a corral. He left for a brief period, and upon returning, the bulls were gone. After a frantic search, he found all 4 giant bulls packed tightly inside a tiny, abandoned 6x6 foot metal trailer on the property. The bulls were alive, but in a catatonic state. The single entry door to the trailer was securely padlocked from the outside, and the wire netting over the windows was completely untouched, making it physically impossible for humans to have loaded the massive beasts inside. So here's what we've got today. So this is basically the background of Skinwalker Ranch. So we've got cryptids, we've got giant bulletproof wolf, we've got a tree perch reptilian, we've got gargoyles, we've got hybrid canines, and we've got shadow men. We've got dog vaporization by blue orbs, high radiation exposure, extreme vertigo, brain swelling. Fucking hell, they're very good. We have orange sky portals, entities crawling out of light tears, 1.6 gigahertz radio frequency signal spikes. We have metallic saucers, silent triangles, craft disappearing into the solid metal wall, bloodless laser precise surgical removal of organs, and impossible livestock teleportation into locked trailers. So that's Skinwalker Ranch. As I said, Jack Osborne's done a programme on there, and there's lots of information about that sort of thing. So if you do want to look up Skinwalker Ranch, because a lot of people do Skinwalker Ranch as a solo episode, but today I thought I'd chuck it in with Stardust Ranch and get a show out of both, really. So now we're going to go into Stardust Ranch. So Stardust Ranch, I listened to the Bro.io podcast about this. They interviewed the actual owner. I'll come to the owner's name in a minute. But they do the show, and at the end of the show, the interview, because he is very well known for doing interviews and stuff. Mile Higher was the first time I'd ever read about this, and then you've obviously got the Ghost Adventures episode, season 12, episode 12, the Stardust Ranch. So if you want to do any research or anything, look them up. That's the ones that will give you all the most information. So what is the Stardust Ranch? So let's have a look at it, shall we? I have got a couple of pictures for Stardust Ranch, so let's see what we've got. So there he is. There's the owner outside his Stardust Ranch. You know, I think he looks like Jesse Ventura, the wrestler. Yeah. So there he's standing outside and they're saying, "Your name's not Dan. You're not coming in, motherfucker." So that's the one picture. And there he is. Here's another one where he's talking to Zach Bagans. There he is. A little bit older on that picture. Lost a little bit of weight. Got a beautiful moustache. Look at that. He's got the stash. He's got the tash, and he's got the grey mullet combination. You'll call it that. And of course, there's Zach Bagans sitting next to him in his usual all black with his glasses on. So that's Zach Bagans. And here is a photo that if you watch an episode, I'm going to tell you what an episode to watch in a minute later on. And if you watch that episode, you will see this photo. And as he's doing it, he's doing like a FaceTime interview with someone. And so literally, it's just a picture of his face talking like on like a Zoom call or something. But on the far left-hand corner, you see something's head pop in and pop out really, really quick. Now on this photo, it's circled, but you can't. Or you can see like a little black shadow there. You can't really see, but when you watch the actual video, you do see it. And I've got to admit, it's odd. It is strange because I don't really know how to explain what it is. But maybe this photo might answer a few of these questions. So this is the last photo that I've got. And on this photo, there's the bloke, I don't know what his name is, Jesse Ventura. I don't know what that picture is. I really don't know what that picture is in the middle. But the end picture is the picture I'm leading you to. This is a picture, for the people who are not looking on YouTube. We've got a big samurai sword, a katana. That's on the floor. And it's on like a concrete floor, but on the concrete floor is a big massive pool of dried up blood. And it's like he's cut his finger kind of blood. I'm talking, this is like a decapitation amount of blood that's on that floor. So I'm going to get into that in a bit later on. But yeah, that's the Stardust Ranch. So we'll get into it, shall we? So where is the Stardust Ranch? The Stardust Ranch is roughly 600 miles south into the desert of Buckeye, Arizona, in Rainbow Valley. While Skinwalker Ranch feels like a clinical high-tech ghost hunt, Stardust Ranch, also known as the Alien Ranch or Rainbow Ranch, plays out like an absolute horror movie crossed with a sci-fi war film, and you're going to understand when I say this. John Edmonds and his wife Joyce purchased the 10-acre property in Buckeye, Arizona for around $232,000 in 1996. Their goal was modest: run a peaceful non-profit horse rescue centre called Hope for Horses. Over 2 decades later, John and Joyce described living in a state of perpetual siege, claiming the ranch was situated directly over interdimensional vortex or alien staging base. Edmonds eventually placed the ranch on the market for over $5 million, openly warning buyers that whoever brought it would need to carry weapons all day and all night. The defining hallmark of Stardust Ranch is John Edmonds' decision to meet intruding entities with lethal physical force. Edmonds claimed that the grey alien entities, typically standing 3.5 to 4.5 foot tall, frequently breached his home via portals or by walking directly through solid drywall into living areas. Edmonds stated that firearms were often unreliable or too dangerous inside the house, so he began using heavy wooden staves or a razor-sharp Japanese katana. Like I said, if you don't know what katana is, it's a samurai sword. He publicly noted that to stop a grey, one had to decapitate him, to disconnect the antennae, and to prevent it from telepathically calling for reinforcements or vanishing back through a gateway. Edmonds claims to have killed and beheaded at least 18 to 19 extraterrestrial entities inside his house over the last 2 decades. According to Edmonds, these entities did not bleed red blood. Instead, slicing them open released a thick, dark, gel-like fluid or yellowy black ichor, whatever that is, that sizzled like acid, burning holes through carpets and ruining interior furniture. He took photos of the dark stains and saved dried tissues samples, sending them off to private labs for independent DNA testing. So that's the picture that I showed you earlier, the one that's got the stain on the floor. It looks pretty rough, to be honest. The entities of Stardust Ranch frequently targeted the owners directly. Joyce Edmonds experienced nightmarish encounters where she was levitated out of her bed while unconscious. John reported waking up to find Joyce suspended near the bedroom ceiling or physically dragged across the floor towards an open doorway or portal by the grey entities. Both owners suffered physical retaliation, including deep triangular puncture wounds, unexplained needle marks, severe linear scratches and deep internal bruises. In one incident, Edmonds claimed he was struck by an unseen energy beam during an indoor confrontation and knocked him unconscious and left him with long-term soft tissue injuries. If you watch the Ghost Adventure episode on this, it shows you all this. He's got the photos of this. It's on YouTube, and I was going to play it, but I googled it to see if I was allowed to play it, and apparently I'm not allowed to play the YouTube clips. So if you type in Ghost Adventure Stardust Ranch on YouTube, I think there's like an highlights. I think it's like an 18-minute video, and it's got it all on there. And yeah, it's pretty bad. I might play one little bit because it's not pictures. It's just him talking. I might play that later on. Let's see what he says, so you can make out what he says. The violence on the property extended heavily to the animals John and Joyce were trying to protect. Over 10 rescue horses died under suspicious, highly violent circumstances. Horses were found dead inside the corrals with laser-like circular incisions, missing organs and completely body blood drained, with no blood splatter on the desert floor. Same as Skinwalker Ranch. Dogs that attempted to attack the intruding greys or protect the horse corrals met brutal ends. Edmonds reported finding pet dogs sliced neatly in half or destroyed by localised high energy blasts. Again, that's the same as Skinwalker Ranch. Them liquidising the dogs, cutting them neatly cutting off dog. I mean, that's like a laser to do that. Or some seriously fucking sharp knife. You say like the knives we got in that kitchen in there, because they don't even spread butter. You know, you struggle cutting a piece of bread with them things. You're better off chopping it with your hand like a fucking karate chop, fucking Bruce Lee style. Them knives in there. So they're definitely using them sort of knives. There was some Poundland, but you get what you get, I suppose. While the greys were the primary physical threat, Stardust Ranch functioned as a multi-phenomenon corridor. Edmonds claimed a major interdimensional gateway hovered above a specific quadrant of his property near a dry creek bed. Floating light spears ranged from gold to neon blue were regularly seen emerging from mid-air. These orbs exhibited intelligent movement, flying into the ranch, or inspecting livestock. Alongside grey alien activity, Edmonds documented sightings of a massive 8-foot tall, hairy bipedal cryptid resembling Bigfoot lurking alone in the perimeter fence line. The creature was heard emitting heavy gruntal roars and leaving massive tracks in the loose desert near the animal pens. Fucking hell. So he's got the aliens coming at him, where he's chopping them down with like fucking ninja stuff. Now he's got Bigfoot coming after him, doing some Bigfoot shit, probably where he wants to eat him or fuck him, one of the two. He's thinking, fucking hell, I'll tell you what, bring it fucking on, motherfucker. I've got my sword, I've got my can of iron brew, nothing's going to stop me today. So I guarantee he drinks iron brew, he must do. Then we're talking about the shadow men. The dense 3D black silhouettes were routinely observed standing near bedroom doors or floating through hallways without stepping onto the floor. Edmonds reported visits from tall, pale men in pristine dark suits who drove unmarked vehicles down the remote dirt road leading to the ranch. These individuals allegedly warned Edmonds to stop sharing photos of alien tissue and sword fight remnants online. Heavy wooden furniture inside the house routinely flipped over unassisted. Telephones, radios and household appliances turned onto a maximum volume and powered and was completely cut the main circuit breaker. Investigators visiting the ranch, including TV crews like shows Ghost Adventures, documented rapid battery drainage, electromagnetic spikes and visual anomalies on their thermal imaging cameras near the main portal site. So, what have we got on here for this sort of stuff? We've got, it's in Rainbow Valley, Buckeye, Arizona. We've got grey aliens, shadow beings, Bigfoot, hairy cryptids, men in black. We've got John Edmonds chopping 18 aliens' heads off. You got acid-like gels spilled during combat. They damaged the carpet, but he saved the tissue samples. We have levitation and abduction attempts on Joyce, severe puncture wounds on owners. You've got 10 plus rescue horses mutilated, dogs killed or disintegrated by high energy attacks. We've got active interdimensional vortexes, floating lighting orbs, and localised energy fields. That's a lot of shit to deal with, if you're asking me. Personally, I've got dickhead neighbours next to me on the one side, I've got great neighbours on the one side, I've got dickhead neighbours on the other, and they do my head in. But if you've got all that shit going on, that's a little bit worse. I can deal with them next door neighbours. They're just annoying, they're just loud, and they don't give a shit about car parking neither. But I think that's sourcing them. I had a bit of a word. A nice word. As you do. Yeah, but I've got like them neighbours. I mean, you imagine, you got all that shit going on. That to me is worse than Skinwalker Ranch, because there's a lot of stuff going on there that is actually personal attacks. Skinwalker Ranch is just observations and stuff. This is you waking up, your missus is being raped, your missus is being through in the air, your missus is being floating through the thing. You're waking up with your toes all cut and chopped and stuff, which I want to try and see if I can show you a photo of it later and stuff. You know, it's fucked up, that is. Fucked up. One thing Stardust Ranch, as of a Skinwalker Ranch, is actual real evidence that was sent away for testing. John Edmonds claimed to have collected several biological and environmental samples following his physical encounters with the Greys and the mysterious deaths of his animals. The story surrounding these samples and the scientist who analysed them is one of the most frequently cited conspiracy elements of the ranch's lore. Edmonds collected 3 primary types of samples from the property. He collected it from the carpet and the floor following the sword fights of the intruding grey entities. Edmonds described it as a black, dark, gel-like substance that burned into carpet fibres like mild acid. Swabs and cellular tissues gathered from horses found dead under anomalous, bloodless circumstances, and desert soil from areas near reported interdimensional portals and crop-like distress zones. The samples were sent to Dr. William C. Levengood, a biophysicist based in Michigan. Dr. Levengood was a recognised figure in his fringe scientific research, known for co-founding the BLT, Bacon, Edison, Tomato research team. What the fuck? And publishing peer-reviewed papers on cellular alterations in plants found within crop circle formations. I've seen this bloke before. He's the bloke. Every time we used to watch the UFO programs, he was always on. He was a guy. He had a grey beard and glasses, and like he was starting to go baldish on the head. And I remember who he was. He's not with us no more. Unfortunately, he's passed away. According to accounts from Edmonds and researchers who tracked the case, Dr. Levengood conducted cellular and spectroscopic tests on the specimens. Levengood reported that the fluid sample contained anomalous cellular structure exhibiting properties of both plant and animal cells, having thick cellulose-like walls surrounding animal-like biological components. That don't make sense, does it? So it's a plant-animal hybrid. The tissue and fluid lacked normal terrestrial DNA markers, but contained a high concentration of an unusual form of hemoglobin, not typically seen in standard biological organisms. Soil samples reportedly showed cellular distortion consistent with high energy microwave or localized radiation exposure. Shortly after communicating to Edmonds that he believed he was looking at potentially non-terrestrial or altered biological material, aka the smoking gun of what the fuck's going on, Dr. Levengood passed away. His death was officially attributed to natural causes, complications resulting from an accidental fall in his home laboratory. Apparently what they said was he tripped over in his laboratory and banged his head, and that's how he died. So yeah, so he's found all this stuff and he's been doing it for years and years and years, and as soon as he gets that smoking gun, boom, he has an accidental fall, bangs his head and passes away. Within UFO and paranormal circles, Levengood's sudden death triggered intense speculation. Edmonds and several researchers claimed that the timing was suspicious, alleging that the government agencies or Men in Black were involved in suppressing the findings. Makes sense? Following Levengood's death, much of the raw data, detailed laboratory notes and remaining physical tissue samples allegedly went missing or were tied up in his estate, leaving the scientific community without full public access to the raw lab data. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at some top trumps kind of things. So, let's get this up here, shall we? Let's knock it up now. Here we go. Let's click on this button. Here we go. So we're going to top trump it. So I'm going to put this on the screen. Here we go. So on the screen now I've got a category. So we've got three lists. We've got category, Skinwalker Ranch and Stardust Ranch. And everything's marked out of 100. So number 1, extraterrestrial hostility and violence. Skinwalker Ranch, 85 out of 100. Scorched dogs, cattle mutilation and radiation. Stardust Ranch, 99 out of 100. Direct physical attacks, abductions and pet slaughters. Close combat and hand-to-hand defence, 15 out of 100. Rifle fire at a bulletproof wolf. Stardust Ranch, 100 out of 100. Katana sword fights, 18 alien beheadings. Number 3, scientific and high-tech documenting, 98 out of 100. NIDS, Pentagon, 1.6 gigahertz signals. Stardust Ranch, 35 out of 100. Independent photos, lab samples and TV crews. Number 4, cryptid and portal diversity. Skinwalker Ranch, 95 out of 100. So you've got skinwalkers, dire wolves, mesh sky anomalies. Stardust Ranch, 80 out of 100. Bigfoot sightings, vortexes, floating orbs and shadow men. Number 5, psychological and domestic terror, 90 out of 100. Terrified owners fled in 2 years. Stardust Ranch, 98 out of 100. 20-year siege, living in constant lethal combat. That gives us a total score of 300 for Skinwalker Ranch, 383 out of 500. And your winner in the beheaded corner, the man with the beautiful moustache and grey mullet, Stardust Ranch, 412 out of 500. So yeah, so Skinwalker Ranch wins that one. I do remember him saying on the programme when Zach Baggins interviews him, he turned around and says, the owner does, he says when he brought the property, he went into the house and every single item that the previous owner had was still in the house. It's literally like something happened. They literally grabbed the car keys, chucked his missus in the car, chucked his kids in the car, chucked his dog in the boot and went, fuck it, bump, and they went. They don't know where they went. They've never found out who there was. They never found out anything about him since that day. They moved in. Every single item of clothes was there. Everything that they owned was in that house. And what he turned around and mentions is, as he was cleaning the house out, I haven't got this down in my notes for some reason, but I remember it from the episode. And a guy come walking down, some proper like, kind of like a redneck that was like something out of the wrong turn, look like a little bit fucked up, redneck, been a stocky bloke. And the owner says, "What can I do for you?" And he goes, I work here. And he goes, "Well," and the owner, the new owner, what's his name? Edmonds, is he? Yeah, Edmonds. He turned around and says, "Well, I don't think you do now. I own the property now, and I don't want you to work here because I don't know who you are. You look like a pisshead. You look like a smackhead. I don't want you working for me." And the guy says, "I'm going to do my job. Let me do my job, or you won't be able to deal with the consequences." Now this guy had a gun in his pocket and a big, massive, like a hatchet kind of thing he was holding. So Edmonds always carries a gun. So he held his gun and said, "Look, I don't want to go into a gunfight with you. Fuck off and just go away. You don't work here no more, and you never will work here again." And the guy just smiled and went, "You'll regret saying that. I was the one that used to deal with it all." And he walked away. Obviously, a couple of hours later, a couple of days later, Edmonds found out what he was on about. So this guy must have been like a bodyguard or a bouncer or something. I ain't sure, of like the previous tenants. And yeah, the guy went away, and the owner never ever seen him again. So no one knows whatever happened to him. But yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, he said, like, fuck off, I don't want you nothing to do. But yeah, so that's the Trumps. So Skinwalker Ranch literally got way over that. So this is the final verdict. If you're looking for scientific legitimacy, ancient, high-strung tribal history, and high-tech military surveillance, Skinwalker Ranch is the undisputed heavyweight champion. It's drawn funding from the defence, intelligence, billionaires, and aerospace engineers trying to crack the code of the interdimensional reality. But, and it's a big but in capital letters, B-U-T-T. If we are talking raw, unadulterated, lethal, paranormal chaos, where a homeowner has to keep a samurai sword next to his bed because grey aliens are trying to get into his house, fuck him up the arse, and take his missus away, then Stardust Ranch takes a trophy. Skinwalker Ranch scares you off the land. Stardust Ranch turns you into katana-wielding alien hunter. So which one would you spend a night at? Let me know in the comments what you would stay at. Would you stay at Stardust Ranch, or would you stay at Skinwalker Ranch? So what do you think? Stardust Ranch versus Skinwalker Ranch. Who do you think's the one that's most fucked up, the most scary? So let me see if I can find this YouTube video. So I'll go on YouTube here. Hang on, I've just got to share the screen first though. So I've got to share the screen, go onto YouTube and share that screen there, and then I'm going to type in where's the search bar? Yeah, ghost adventures Stardust Ranch. There we go. Ghost Adventures Stardust Ranch. There's Whatcast. There he is. It's my mate Matt. If you walk for him, I wouldn't have a podcast. He was the main reason why I did a podcast. So thank you very much, Matt, for that. But anyway, go and follow him. He's brilliant, absolute brilliant. Best podcast out there, along with Such a Witch. The two best podcasts out there at the minute they are. So Ghost Adventures Stardust Ranch. So here is that's the one you want to look at. The alien activity at Stardust Ranch. So if you go all the way back here, it's down here. There we go. So I'm looking at it now. That was a thing.
Our way to the Stardust Ranch to meet the couple who have been terrorized by these greys.
And he was the phone call. I mean, that's scary stuff. I mean, you've got to admit that is some scary shit. That is. So hopefully YouTube will let me get away with that. But when I post the video, but you could see if you're watching on YouTube, you will see them photos of like the scars and how they've been cut and like the stab marks and stuff and jab marks. If you've not, you can Google them. But also, it's that phone call where he says like, I have to handcuff the missus to the bed, not because she's a kinky bitch, not because she's horny, she's into all this like BDSM shit, and she likes being changed up sort of stuff, like 50 Shades kind of stuff. Do it for her own safety. So that's scary stuff, very, very scary. So there you go. It's an impromptu episode this week. I didn't even think I was going to do this episode today, really. When the missus and the baby went this morning, I was just like, well, what am I going to do? My car's in the garage, so I can't go to the gym. The people I'm doing the drive, so they're going to need stuff all the while, coming in and out of the house, so I can't leave the house. So why don't I just do an episode on the podcast? So I thought, got my laptop out and went, dig, started typing like Dr. Blitz, and yeah, I thought I'd come up and do, because no one listens to my podcast anyway, so who gives a fuck really? It was only like me and one other person that listens. But I thought, what, Skinwalker Ranch, a lot of people look for that, so maybe it might get me down the algorithm. Maybe the algorithm might pick it up and start like give me some followers instead of having like 2 and 3 people listening every week. Because it don't bother me. I do this because I like doing it. I enjoy doing a podcast, whether anybody listens or not. It's something that I've liked doing ever since I started listening to podcasts. Like I said, in Whatcast was the guy, the picture you just saw on that YouTube picture. He's the guy that got me into it, Matt, and I really do appreciate everything that he did. Helped me out a lot, and I really do appreciate that. So yeah, that's it. Of currently Sunday's episode, I think I'm going to do a Batman episode. Now I know people think, oh fucking hell, are you gonna listen to that? Well, guess what? No one listens to this podcast anyway, so I don't really fucking care, to be honest. So I'm a big massive Batman fan. As you can see on my arm, there is my tattoo, my Batman symbol with why do we fall, so we can learn to pick ourselves up. So no, it's a shit tattoo. I had it done, God, when I had that done, God, 2013 I had that done. Wow, 13 years ago. Wow, I was when I had that done, and when I had that tattoo done, the woman was actually telling me, because it was like a spare of the moment thing. I had some like I sold something, or it was what it was. I had a bit of money. I had like about 70 quid in my hand. I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go and get me a tattoo. So I went in to book the tattoo, and the woman says, I've had a cancellation, I can do it now if you want. I went, yeah, fuck it, why not? So I did it, and she was telling me about her husband's affair he was having with the receptionist, because she had the one room, her husband had the other room, but her husband was knobbing the receptionist, and she was telling me all about it, and she was crying and getting all emotional and stuff, and my arm was literally pissing out of blood. Now that wasn't my first tattoo. I've got tattoos all over the place, I've got them all over my chest and everything and that sort of thing. So I've got them up my arms and all sorts of things. So I knew that wasn't. I had my daughter tattooed there, Belle. That's Isabel, and I knew it's a place that's not supposed to hurt or bleed, because that day even bleed. That one was pissing out of blood like anything, and I was like, "Ooh, so much wrong here," because that shouldn't be like that. And for nearly a year, it was kind of like black, like it was just like really, really badly bruised. It's like you could barely see the tattoo, and I was just like, I think I fucked my arm up. I really do. I think I got like fucking poisoning or something. It went back normal anyway. She's like, come back and I'll tidy it up for free, and I can do all the anything that's missed. And I was like, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah, so dodgy. That was a dodgy tattoo. That was, but it means a lot. It means a lot to me that does that tattoo. It's every tattoo I've got is a personal tattoo for me. So I've got my kids' names tattooed on me. I've got the missus' name on me. I've got like I said, all the kids' names. I've got film quotes, which is that one. I've got song lyrics, which are personal to me, which is like Forest Black, Fall Into Me, and she it's my daughter's song. Take it, she gives you her heart, don't you break it. Let your arms be the place you feel safe in. She's the best thing that you'll ever have. Beautiful song, absolutely beautiful song. I don't sing it good because I go sing. It's a beautiful song. That song, every time I hear that song, it's a special song to me. That song is. I've got that on me. I've got mine and the missus's wedding song, Falling Like a Star, tattooed on. I've got my Batman symbol. I've got my Man of Steel symbol. The strong symbol for family. I've got the moon and the stars. That's something personal for me. It's everything I've got is all my tattoos and personal, sort of thing. So yeah, when I had that done, I was like, that shouldn't be doing that. But like I said, we live and learn, don't we? So it's one of them. It is what it is, as the old Tiger King I used to work with used to say all the while. But yeah, so I'm going to do a Batman episode. I've already written it out. I've already done the episodes. Obviously, being a big Batman fan is pretty easy to write. To be honest, I don't even need to write it. I could literally just come off my head with all the Batman information that I've got. But I better bring the mic. You ain't gonna hear me. But yeah, it's the I keep leaning back, and when you lean back like that, you can't hear me on the microphone properly. So I need to get one of them arms that come out so I can like speak like Joe Rogan and Matt from Whatcast and Bro. I need to get one of them. But yeah, so I've done the Batman films, all of them, and I've also done the Batman comics. Now I've never read the comics. As I've said before, I've never read a book. Never read a book in my entire life. I've written a book. I've got a book out there I've written. It's never been published, but I've written a book. If anybody wants to read it, please DM me. I'll send it to you. It's called Online Dating at 30. What could possibly go wrong? It's about the time when I was single, years ago, before I met the lucky Mrs. L and Mrs. J, yeah, it's about the time I was single and my experiences of online dating, which is oh dear me, them were crazy days. That was. It was a site called Plenty of Fish, and oh my god, them was some fucked up memories. That was basically the reason why I did it was I used to go to work every day, and I'd be telling like Chad and Sean, my brummy brothers from another mother. Them was, God, I miss them two lads. I do. I miss them two lads so much. God, they was my best mates. They was, and yeah, I used to tell them all my experiences, how it happened. I'm like, I've got a date this night. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing the next day. I had to go across what happened. They'd be like, oh, fucking hell, this happened and that happened, blah, blah, blah. And I said the one day, you know what, Neil, you should write these down in a book, because honestly, there's that many of them. You see, it's fucking hilarious. So one day, I mean, I've never written a book. I've never read a book, so I've never written a book. And, you know, I'm not a word person. And I thought, fuck it. So I got my laptop and I just started typing. Bump, 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 bump. Next thing I know, it took me about 18 months and about 10 drafts, because I kept on writing it. Then I'd read little bits at a time and change it, and read little bits at a time, because it didn't flow. I just basically what I'd done was I just made like a baseline story. Then I wrote down all my dates that I had, so the ones I remember. I had that fucking many, I couldn't remember all of them. And as I was writing my book, what new ones was coming into my head, the ones I was remembering. So I was doing that, and I was having to like fit them into like the right areas and stuff, because like it was like so I could make it all flow. And in the end, I got it done. And everyone who's read my book has actually turned around and said it's really good, and they've really enjoyed it. And yeah, so it's one of them. Will it ever get published? I don't know. I'll get it to a publisher, and she said, yeah, I'll publish it, and she never did nothing with it. And literally just 2 years she's had it now, and I've said to her, I want it back, because you ain't going to do anything with it, and I don't want to do nothing. And she just literally just blanked me, and it's just completely blanked me. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But yeah, I mean, it is funny. It's a funny book. It's a naughty book. It's very, very naughty. It's very 50 Shades-esque kind of thing, but there's a lot of hidden stories in there. There's a lot of twists and a lot of turns, and there's some very funny moments. And like literally, as I said before, all the dates on there are more true. Everything that happened is true. So yeah, it's one of them. But it's just what like I did. So I don't know. I even got into writing my book, but yeah. So I've done all the comics, and I've had to research that one, so find out which one was the best ones, and that I knew which ones it was, because the Batman comics, a lot of them have been turned into Batman animated films, and the Batman animated films are brilliant. They're better than the real films. Honest to God, Hollywood should turn around and just say, get that storyline and make it the same way that cartoon is, because they're brilliant. You got like Batman Hush, Batman Under the Red Hood. You got God, them brilliant, man. You've got Batman Nightfall, which is coming out, where Bane breaks Batman's back. That looks fucking brilliant, that does. That looks so good. Ryan come down, he's like, Dad, have you seen the new Batman? My son likes Batman. Of course, like, you had no choice really growing up with me. And he's like, Dad, have you seen the new Batman thing? I said, well, yeah, it was me that sent you. He goes, that looks really good, Dad. He said, he said, he's going to the cinema. I said, I don't think he's going to the cinema. He said, when he comes on the Sky, we'll have to get that. I said, Brian, when that comes on Sky, I'm paying for it. We'll pay the 15 quid is, and we'll watch it. He's like, yeah, definitely. So yeah, there's loads of them. You got the Batman v Superman with Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck. That was based on one of the graphic novels. It was based on The Dark Knight Returns. It was based on that, and there's loads of them. Year One, they reckon Batman Begins was very heavily based on Year One. So I won't know. Like I said, I've never read the comics, but yeah, I've done that one. I've also done the film one, which I enjoyed doing the film because it was good. I was a trip down memory lane, watching going for all the old Batman ones, but even the shit ones like Batman and Robin and Batman Forever. Batman Forever wore too bad. It was all right, but Batman and Robin. God, I watched that once, so I'll never watch it again. Yeah, that was bad, very bad. He had a third one. Was it going to be? What was the third one going to be? Batman. I couldn't remember what the third one was titled. So it was Batman. Was it Batman Unknown? It might have been Batman Unknown, and he was going to be there's going to be like an accumulation of Arkham, like he's going to have like people break out of Arkham, sort of thing. But that was terrible. I'm glad. Joel Schumacher, he fucked it all up. He even admitted when he made Batman and Robin. He says, I don't think it's Warner Brothers, whatever company owns the Batman franchise, they turned around and said, you've got to come away from the dark gothic tone. You've got to make it more toyetic. And he used the word toyetic, which meant you've got to do it so we can sell more toys. We've got to make it like a franchise so we can sell the Batmobile and we can sell the costumes, we can sell the figures and stuff and the Lego bits and stuff. And so he had to make the story fit that mould. And it didn't work. He backfired badly, very, very, very badly. So yeah, so I've got that one because Saturday or probably Sunday will probably be my Batman movie episode, which that's more personal. That's for me personally, that is. And then after that, I'm going to do the comic book one, but I'll just keep that as like in the locker in case I ever miss a week or something. Like when I go on holiday, I can just post it. So I'll record it and I'll just keep it in like in the bank, the pod bank, I suppose. But yeah, so I'll do that. And then I think I might go into the true crime a bit next. I think I might hit a few true crime cases. I think I might go through, like, start doing do a UK one and might do an American one. So I might do like the Yorkshire Ripper. Because to be honest, there's not many podcasts about the Yorkshire Ripper. Your Dahmers and your Nielsen's and your Gacy's. Yeah, there's fucking loads and loads of them. But I might do the Yorkshire Ripper. I might do the Yorkshire Ripper. Then I might do an American one. And then you have got an Australian one called the Snowtown Murders, which is fucked up. That is. That's a crazy one. That one is. Yeah, it includes barrels of acid and shit. So I might do do a couple of true crime ones, and then I can get back into some paranormal ones. Then you've got like there's a couple of I was looking earlier which episodes I could do like off the cuff, and there's a few ghost ones and that I could do. I keep forgetting that one with the key. That does my fucking head because as soon as I press stop on it, I remember it. But there's a very, very famous one about a ghost with something to do with a key that terrorises like a family. And you got the one as well that the entity is based on as well. So you got that sort of stuff. You've got the Enfield Poltergeist as well. But I might leave that till Halloween because Halloween ain't far away. And when I do Halloween, I want to do like a horror stuff. I mean, Brad Thomas. I spoke to Brad Thomas. I'm going to speak to him, see if he wants to do anything, and I'll speak to Rebecca, see if she wants to do an interview. And if they do want to do an interview, I might get that Sunday instead. So we'll play Warrior. And as for now, I'm going to go and drink my Vimto, and I think I'm going to have to have another shower because I feel like I've been cooked. So thanks very much for listening. If anybody listens, and thank you very much. Leave a comment below and hit the 5 stars, subscribe, and let me know what you think of the episode. So see you later. Adios.